What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into disaster after 4 friends who were all drunk left the bar in the city without a designated driver. Designate a driver. Don't drink and drive.
This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. I am Alana Bose with the latest tonight. President Irfan Ali, in an address to the nation this afternoon, announced that instead of the one-off $200,000 per household cash grant, the government will now be giving every Guyanese 18 years and over a one-off cash grant of $100,000 each. The president, in his address, said the distribution of the cash grant will begin soon, and to be eligible for the grant, a person will have to be the holder of a Guyana passport or ID card. The president said the government's decision to change the grant from $200,000 per household to $100,000 per adult Guyanese was triggered by a number of complexities and concerns about what constitutes a household and the possibility of many people being left out.
And understanding the importance of feedback that we have received, included internal family conflict about access and distribution of the grant. We have seen in recent days a rush to transfer registration of utility meters and a rush to prepare tenancy agreements, all of which is aimed at establishing a distinct household, as well as other complications that may arise in administering these benefits. Having regard to these challenges, whether real or perceived, I instructed last Friday that this measure be re-examined with the aim of expanding the benefit while removing the challenges previously highlighted.
The president said he requested that consideration be given to reducing the burden of administering the benefit, simplifying the procedures for accessing the benefit, improving ease of verification, minimizing potential conflicts that may arise, and ensuring an open, transparent, and verifiable system of delivery and expansion of the benefit. The expansion of the benefit will now see more persons accessing the one-off grant and will cost more.
That instead of the one-off cash grant of $200,000 to every household previously announced, my government will now expand this benefit by providing a one-off cash grant of $100,000 to every citizen of Guyana 18 years and above as of the 1st of January 2024, with a simple means of verification being possession of a national valid identification card and or a valid passport.
He said the measure is now aimed at reducing the risk and complexities that were raised by citizens over the previously announced household grant. The president said he believes that in the interest of fairness, the cash grant for every citizen 18 years and over is better.
And as a responsible government, as a government that understands that we have a responsibility to ensure all feel included and are part of the system, it is important that we build a system that is robust in delivering this grant. And the simplest way, most verifiable way, was $100,000 for every Guyanese 18 years and above, with a qualifying date of the 1st of January 2024. That is achieving the age of 18 on or before the 1st of January 2024.
The president also announced today that in addition to abolishing the tuition fees for the University of Guyana from January 2025, the government will also be abolishing the tuition fees at all government technical and vocational schools. The cash grant distribution has set off widespread public discourse since it was first announced last week. It was former minister under the APNU and AFC government, Winston Jordan, who first recommended that a $100,000 cash grant be given to every adult Guyanese instead of the $200,000 per household grant, since more persons will stand to benefit. More news in a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look. You know the one. one touch, even one word. I can start with one step or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
I am Simone Ford, and I'm the owner of Siege Eco Clean Services. I provide my services to the oil and gas sector. We provide janitorial services which are environmentally friendly. So we produce healthier homes and healthier workspaces.
Are you ready to elevate your career with a world-class education from the comfort of your home? The University of Excellence Management and Business, UEMB, Guyana's premier accredited and recognized tertiary institution, invites you to join one or more of our comprehensive 145-degree programs. Registration is now open for our next intake on September 9 and every 2 months thereafter. Enroll now and secure a 50% scholarship. Choose from an ABA, BBA, MBA, MPM, EMBA, EMPM, and LLM degrees, available in 14 specializations. Whether you hold an undergraduate degree, a diploma, or relevant professional qualifications, apply. We are an accredited degree-granting tertiary institution in Guyana. Our programs are also equivalent to a USA Regional Accredited degree. Submit your completed application form, proof of entrance qualification, and any form of ID. For more details, visit our administrative office in the Critchlow Labour College, front building, Wolford Avenue, or call 225-1395, 225-1397-9, 618-3434, and 681-3434. Progressing to a degree is as easy as ABC with UEMB. Deal with the best and forget the rest.
I can't wait until tomorrow.
Yes.
Start packing this, yeah?
I ain't start packing yet. Usually I pack a couple hours before and I go. Drive. I got my phone, I got my keys, my charger, my
Procrastinating planning for the future? Well, that's never a good idea. Let Demerara Mutual and Demerara Fire and General help you get started with planning for your future today. I'm with Dem.
The Special Organized Crime Unit of the Guyana Police Force has announced that it has recommended dozens of charges against Assistant Commissioner of Police Calvin Brutus and is now awaiting the advice of the Director of Public Prosecutions. In a statement this morning, SOCU explained that while no criminal charges were recommended against Mr. Brutus following the completion of initial investigations into certain activities that he was allegedly involved in, a more expansive investigation was undertaken after the unit received critical information from the Financial Intelligence Unit, FIU. The Financial Intelligence Unit was established under the Anti-Money Laundering Act as an agency responsible for requesting, receiving, analyzing, and dissemination of suspicious transaction reports and other information relating to money laundering, terrorist financing, or proceeds of crime. The statement from SOCU indicated that the expanded investigation, which was based on information received from the FIU, was completed on the 1st of October 2024, and all of the relevant files were sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions for review, advice, and further action. SOCU said, in respect of the expansive investigation, it has recommended dozens of charges and is now awaiting the legal advice of the Director of Public Prosecutions. The Special Organized Crime Unit described as misleading a front-page report in today's Stabroek News that its probe of the Assistant Police Commissioner has found no evidence of a crime. Mr. Brutus proceeded on leave earlier this year amid claims of financial improprieties linked to the Guyana Police Force's credit union. News source understands that while that investigation involving the credit union may not have found any wrongdoing on Mr. Brutus's behalf, it triggered the much wider investigation after millions of dollars were noticed in his bank accounts and the accounts of at least 2 relatives. Reports recently surfaced that Mr. Brutus, in a statement to SOCU, claimed that the more than $46 million that he deposited into one of his bank accounts represented monetary gifts that he received at his wedding last year and during the Christmas season. Mr. Brutus has not denied those reports. In the same statement that he allegedly provided to SOCU, the Assistant Commissioner reportedly explained that over the years in the Guyana Police Force, he lived mostly in the barracks of the force and in housing provided by the force, and he was therefore able to save millions of dollars. In the statement, it was also claimed that in the run-up to his wedding, he was told by the acting police commissioner not to spend money that he had received as gifts on his wedding, as he, the acting commissioner, would get his friends and contacts to cover the expenses of the wedding. A statement carrying what appears to be the signature of the acting police commissioner recently appeared in the press, indicating that the acting commissioner had received $8.5 million from one businessman to cover the wedding expenses of the assistant commissioner. While the Special Organized Crime Unit was quick to deny ever receiving that statement from Acting Commissioner Hicken, the Acting Commissioner has remained silent on the matter. The Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry has proposed the expansion of training opportunities available to Guyanese to address the issue of labor shortage in the country. In a statement, the Chamber of Commerce said, having recognized that the country continues to grapple with a labor shortage while navigating the need for stronger health, safety, security, and environment culture, it is continuing its efforts to address those issues, particularly through collaboration and stakeholder engagement. Earlier this week, the private sector organization led a team to meet with the Minister of Labor, Joseph Hamilton, and other officials from the Labor Ministry to see how best the two sides can work together to address the issues. Among the issues addressed were the labor deficit that exists in the country and the need for that issue to be addressed frontally through increased training. Additionally, the two sides also discussed the worrying statistics as it relates to workplace accidents and fatalities. During the meeting, the Labor Minister Joe Hamilton explained that over the last 4 years, more than 12,700 persons benefited from technical and vocational training through the Board of Industrial Training, BIT, while there has been an increase in the number of women trained in non-traditional jobs. As it relates to health, safety, security, and environment, Minister Hamilton expressed alarm at the number of persons harmed in work-related accidents so far this year, describing it as frightening. He requested the private sector's collaboration to address this challenge. The discussions also touched on the need for systems to be put in place for decent accommodation for migrant labor in addressing the shortage, the need for legislation to govern recruitment services, and clear regulations as it relates to workers who are not guided by traditional hours and periods of employment, such as offshore workers. The GCCI and Ministry of Labor are to sign a memorandum of understanding that will guide their partnership in addressing these issues. Earlier this year, the president of the Guyana Manufacturing and Services Association, Ramsey Ali, in his annual report, stated that despite a 25% increase in business last year in the manufacturing and services industry, there is a reported massive skill and labor shortage in Guyana that hinders the growth of industries and limits the country's overall economic potential. Vice President Barrett Jagdeo has also been raising the issue and the need to import skilled labor.
The Guyana Elections Commission GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31st, 2024 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Types of transactions. Anyone eligible for registration is required to visit the registration office responsible for his or her area of residence to apply for registration. Persons who are already registered could apply for a name change if they have changed their names since they were last registered. Apply for corrections if there is incorrect information on their national ID cards. Persons who are desirous of conducting any of the above transactions must provide the relevant supporting documents. Persons who are already registered could request that their photographs be retaken if the quality of the photographs on their ID cards is unacceptable. Collect their new ID cards if they have not done so as yet. This registration exercise will end on November 29, 2024. For further information, please contact GCOM on the following hotline numbers: 225-027729, 226-6557, 223-9650, or visit the GCOM website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Monster! Bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors that me crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster. Grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Buster, bust the flavors. Buster, bust the flavors.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
The Ministry of Housing's Central Housing and Planning Authority has announced that construction will soon begin on a parking facility for sand trucks and other large vehicles in Great Diamond on the east bank of Demerara. The ministry said the move to establish the parking facility aims to address the issue of sand trucks and other large vehicles associated with the construction sector parking along the East Bank Public Road and in other areas along the East Bank corridor. Housing and Water Minister Colin Crowell, along with the Deputy Director of Projects Intercap Inderjeet and surveyors from the agency, visited the site designated for the new facility earlier today. The Housing Ministry said Minister Crowell noted that due to the recent boom in the construction sector, there has been an increase in the movement of larger trucks required for the delivery of construction materials. He said 15 acres of land will be developed on the east bank of Demerara for parking purposes, and a similar development will take place on the east coast to cater for the parking of trucks there also. It was explained that similar facilities will be established in Regions 3 and 6, as well as along the Linden-Soesdijk Highway. Minister Crow said a location near the Soesdijk Junction is being examined for the location of the parking facility on the highway, since it will allow trucks to temporarily stop while waiting to load or serve as a rest area for overnight stays. A supervisor at a gold mining company whose family also operates a sand trucking business is grateful for life, but is hoping for justice after he was abducted and robbed. The victim, Kevin Feedcow, who is originally from Linden but lives in Providence, told investigators that he was taking his vehicle to wash at the Giftland Mall back parking lot on October 10th when 3 men approached him and identified themselves as police officers attached to the Special Organized Crime Unit. The man said after he initially refused their request to get out of his vehicle after they failed to identify themselves, the men then forced him out of the vehicle and handcuffed him. He said 2 of the 3 men were armed with guns and they dumped him into the backseat of their grey Toyota Premio car and sped off from the Giftland parking lot. Speaking to News Source this morning, Feedcow said the men drove around town for a while before eventually pulling over at a parking lot and threatening him while demanding money. Fearing for his life, the man said he told the 3 men that he had money at home from his family business, and they then forced him to give directions to the house in Providence. Feedcow said he handed over $9.5 million in cash that was at the house for the sand truck business, and the men later disconnected his surveillance camera, recorded, and left with it, promising that they would return the next day. The man said he was left confused and did not immediately report the incident to the police since he was concerned that the men really were from the police force. Feedcow explained that he was left even more confused the following morning when the same 3 men turned up at his house, well dressed and in a blue and white police car with sirens and police lights. He said the men demanded more money from him and also questioned him about other valuables before leaving the house. He said the following morning he visited the Providence police station and filed an official complaint. Police investigators visited his home, and while the video recorder from his house was still missing, the investigators were able to get footage from nearby surveillance cameras, which confirmed the man's story and also confirmed that the men returned to his house in a police car. News Source understands that the police investigations have since confirmed that the car used in the man's abduction is registered to a police lance corporal. The Guyana Police Force has not issued any information about that lance corporal or the other details to the story. However, this morning the police issued a wanted bulletin for 29-year-old Okimo Arak Brummel, who has been identified as one of the 3 men who abducted Feedcow from the parking lot of the Giftland Mall. The wanted man's last known address has been given as Bel Air Springs in Georgetown. Anyone knowing his whereabouts is asked to make contact with the nearest police station. A 65-year-old driver from Cotton Tree Village on the west coast of Berbice lost his life on Tuesday afternoon in a smash-up involving his truck and a tractor along the Litchfield Public Road in Berbice. The police report explained that 65-year-old Gokaran Lakram was driving his canter truck along the northern side of the roadway when, as he was making a turn at the junction, a speeding tractor that was being driven out of an access road failed to stop and slammed into the front of the truck. Police are investigating that fatal accident, which occurred around 17:45 yesterday afternoon on Litchfield Public Road, West Coast, Berbice. The police said as a result of the collision, both vehicles received damage and the driver and 2 porters of the truck received injuries and were rushed to the Fort Wellington Hospital. The driver of the truck died while receiving medical attention, while his 2 porters were admitted in a stable but serious condition. The driver of the tractor is assisting with the investigations.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31, 2024 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Where to apply for registration? You are required to visit the registration office that is responsible for the registration of persons in your area of residence to apply for registration. Office hours, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 12 hours, 13 hours to 16 hours 30, and Friday from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 15 hours 30. The offices will be closed on weekends and holidays. This registration exercise will end on November 29, 2024. For further information, contact the GCOM on 225-027729 or visit the website www.gcom.org.gy.
What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into disaster after 4 friends who were all drunk left the bar in the city without a designated driver. Designate a driver. Don't drink and drive.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look. You know the one. Or one touch. Even one word. I can start with one step. Or one promise. One thrill. One first time. One deep breath. One leap of faith. One day to remember. Or one night to forget. One moment. So many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life. Just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyoil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyoil has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
Across the region tonight, highlighting the Caribbean education crisis marked by significant underachievement in CXC results, particularly in math, Director General of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, Dr. Didacus Jules, has pointed to 8 key failures that have kept the region's education system making very little progress for more than 50 years. These include persistent inequality, social challenges, colonial legacies, outdated education, limited access to higher education, lack of technology integration, poor policy development, and resource constraints. Addressing stakeholders at a recent regional symposium and policy dialogue on transforming education, Dr. Jules, who is a former registrar and chief executive officer of the Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC, said the failure to make real changes in education comes from not seeing and tackling challenges as a connected system-wide priority. Dr. Jules, who is trained in educational policy and curriculum instruction and has extensive experience in education reform, social policy, and organizational transformation, stressed that true transformation goes beyond relying on technical experts or approaches such as focusing on technical and vocational education and training. The Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights has established a dedicated regional office for the first time in the Bahamas, headed by Barbadian Michelle Braffett. The establishment of the regional office was led by the small island developing states of the Caribbean Community CARICOM, including Barbados. A resolution was tabled in 2023 in the Human Rights Council under the lead of the Permanent Mission of the Bahamas. It called for the establishment of the regional office and was endorsed by the CARICOM Ministers of Foreign Affairs and supported by the CARICOM Secretariat. The resolution was adopted without a vote with some co-sponsors. The office will be staffed by 16 regular budget positions with national human rights officers stationed in Barbados, Belize, Guyana, Jamaica, Suriname, and Trinidad and Tobago. Braffett, who was a national human rights officer at the UN office in Barbados and has several years of experience supporting human rights policies in the region, recently met with Caribbean ambassadors in Geneva. During the meeting, a deep discussion was held on the human rights priorities and needs for the region, including support on the development of human rights legislation, implementation of universal periodic review recommendations, and working on issues such as the human rights elements of foreign debt and climate justice. And finally tonight, international news. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has presented MPs with a long-awaited victory plan that aims to strengthen his country's position enough to end the war with Russia. Zelensky told Parliament in Kiev the plan could finish the war, which began with Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, next year. Key elements include a formal invitation to join NATO, the lifting by allies of bans on long-range strikes with Western-supplied weapons deep into Russia, a refusal to trade Ukraine's territories and sovereignty, and the continuation of the incursion into Russia's Western Kursk region. The Kremlin dismissed the plan with a spokesman saying Kiev needed to sober up. Addressing MPs on Wednesday, Zelensky also criticized China, Iran, and North Korea for their backing of Russia and described them as a coalition of criminals. He said that Russian President Vladimir Putin had gone mad, describing him as bent on waging wars. Zelensky said he would present the victory plan at an EU summit on Thursday. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I am Alana Bose reporting and encouraging you to have a safe and enjoyable night.